Let's see. I don't care about that. What else going on there? Cancel that, whatever that was. All right.
That's me. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
I knew I got somebody.
You got me. Present.
All right, sorry, that was the wrong number.
Speaker. Oh, that's not good. That's Bob. Okay. Sharon, where are you?
We're waiting for you to call.
Goodbye.
Go onto your computer and sign on. We're still waiting for a couple more people, but it's easier for you from your computer.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
Contacts. Search.
Yeah, you can, but I don't know if somebody will call you from there. It's all in the email I sent to you. I know, that's how everybody's done. But if you could go on, that would be great. We'll wait. Thanks, Mark.
So I
If not, we
guess-
can have people dial in, Amy, the phone number's up on the screen.
Yeah, he's not that one.
Okay.
I knew we should have had a dress rehearsal. I keep telling myself this, but the Republicans already had a dress rehearsal. How does that sound? Okay. Let's see. Got two numbers for her. Let's try that one.
Yes, hi, is this David? David, it's Amy at Zoning Commission. How are you? CBA.
They both come
Are you
from.
gonna be calling in or getting on your computer? We're waiting for you to join. You'll be signing in? Okay, that's great. Okay, we're waiting. That's fine. We're still waiting for others too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, you can get ahold of Sharon.
David's signing in now.
I know, one of those.
Sharon said she was gonna do it.
She said she was going to be there. She knows how to do it.
Probably trying to get in.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we're just, everybody who may be watching, we're just waiting for a quorum.
Right. How many we got on here so far?
So far, there's 1, 2, and two online.
So is David and so is Mark, so we'll wait for the three of you, okay? If you need any help, give us a call back. This is my cell. Bye-bye.
Who was that?
Sharon, she's trying to get on.
Oh, okay.
I got Sharon, David, and Mark. And they're
Good, then we're all
they're
set.
working on getting on right now.
Okay.
So, and we have Tom here, we have Carl on the line, and we have, Chris Simons on, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do we have our applicant on?
Yes, Chris is on.
Okay, great.
Yes, we have everybody. He's here. Here. This next. Calling.
Keep our fingers crossed. Okay. What
You're
else
all
could-
set, you don't need anything from my file.
No. Okay. I have to read the application information. That should be in the
Where's
minute.
that little paper I gave
That's
you?
in the agenda right here.
There's something else I left there for you that you
What?
wanted me to leave. I left another paper there for you to read.
Right here. This one here.
One for the public hearing.
Right. Okay. And Any success yet?
Not yet.
Did we give him the right phone number?
I believe so.
Why don't you send them all out an invite again?
Okay.
Or the three of them, let's put it that way. Oh, somebody connected.
That was from Lori Patari.
I hear somebody.
Probably Dave on Lori's computer.
Okay, is that you, Dave?
Probably Dave on Lori's
You're doing a video?
Okay, is that Dave?
Yep.
Okay, great. So now we have three on the phone, or two on the phone with the applicant.
Had somebody else? Good.
Everybody else is on the phone?
No, but typically the people turn off the videos so that they don't
Is that Chris?
see it.
Ray?
So M. Kane logging on? Can you speak?
We've got another admit.
Okay, now we have Sharon coming on.
Yeah, I see. Is that who you have to admit yet?
I did.
There we go. What happened to that?
Can I turn off just the video?
Okay, Sharon, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can hear you. Good, thank you. And the person who logged on is M. Kane, K-A-N-E. Can you speak?
All right. Let's see.
If you're on your computer and you can't, you're muted right now. Your video is muted.
All right.
If you need to, you could call in the telephone number also and talk on your phone.
Yeah, but how do I turn
Oh,
off the video?
we can hear you now.
Okay. I got Ray and Sharon. I need one more. I need one more. Okay.
Okay, we just lost M. Kane, but it looks like
We
they're going to
just
try
lost-
again.
What?
We lost the person whose name was Kane, K-A-N-E?
Mark.
Mark?
Mark,
Okay, but he's going to presumably try up again. Here we go.
there you go. Admit him and,
How about now, Mark? Can you hear us now?
have him go over to his unmute button.
Doesn't look like he's muted.
Yeah.
Mark, can you speak up again?
They have to turn the volume on their speakers up. I was gonna do this, I knew I should have done
So Mark, we can't hear you.
it. Okay. Tell them to go over to his speaker and increase the volume.
Okay, you could increase the volume on your speaker, but I don't think that's really it. I think it's his microphone.
Yeah, his mic volume is probably not up.
Right. If your mic volume isn't up, that's one thing to try.
Also, the mute button over on the left-hand side.
Yep, there's a mute button on the left. But it doesn't show that he's muted. Okay, Mark.
Now,
Yep.
Okay, we got you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can. So,
Okay.
on the phone you have Dave, Sharon, Carl, Mark, and the applicant, Chris Simon.
Okay, somebody is echoing.
Yeah, I think that's, our system here.
The last person that came on, I think.
Is it me?
Yeah,
I'm the one that's echoing?
Better now.
It's better now, yes.
okay.
Okay, Paul.
Okay, we got everybody here. We have a quorum. This is kind of awkward, I'm sure, for everybody, but I have to read the following. To facilitate the orderly conduct of the public hearing, all questions and comments must be directed through the chair and only after being properly recognized by the chair. This includes members of the public and the commission. All persons recognized by the chair must approach the hearing table in order to facilitate the recording of the questions and comments. And before making any statement, shall give his or her name and address. Please remember that this hearing is being conducted only for the purpose of taking testimony, to be considered in deliberation of the regular members of the commission. Questions may be asked to clarify materials presented. No further evidence will be accepted after the hearing is closed. Oh, and then it says proper decorum is expected of all those present. Please make sure you got your clothes on. Okay. Now, our next call to order, this meeting is called to order as of June 2nd today is, at 7:15 p.m. First call to order is to do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We have a flag in the front of the room, which you may or may not be able to see. I ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, people. Okay, that sounds that problem. We don't have any alternates tonight, so I don't have to sit them. We have, well, we do have an outstanding application. Pardon? And we have an alternate? Right. That's all I need is the quorum. I'm all set. So I think we're all set. All right. So we have public hearing, application number 10968, applied for by Chris Simmons, 325 Fish Rock Road, who is the owner and applicant, applying for a variance relating to section 4.4, section B, 7.2 of the zoning regulations to construct a 3-car detached garage with a minimum setback from the street on property located at 325 Fish Rock Road, zoning, R20. All right, so my first question is, do we have any public comments?
There's no
There's no public here.
There's no public on except for Chris.
Now, we have the application here. Chris, would you please explain to the members here the reason for this application?
Sure. So on the property is just about an acre.
You
However,
have to
there's
speak a little louder.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So the property itself is about an acre, but unfortunately, it's a mostly hill and there's a lot of ledge rock. So unfortunately, for me to put the garage up there, really the only place where I can actually put it is where I have outlined on the survey and on the plot plans. And I know I could probably go with a little bit smaller garage, but this is kind of my dream garage for the property. I try to create some renderings for you guys on what the house and the garage are going to look like after it's all done. And I think it really looks nice, and the whole neighborhood's very excited about it because the house needs a lot of work. I've been working on it for a couple of years now. So I'm hoping that the zoning board will approve it, and then you know, it really kind of bring up the whole atmosphere of the neighborhood.
My first question to you is, as chairperson for the moment, what type of hardship does this bring about if you were denied?
I would have to contact some type of blasting company to come in and look at evaluate blasting the ledge rock. And the problem there is there's a lot of water on the property, so I'm worried that I may disturb some of the neighbors' wells, and also a lot of the groundwater. There's a retention pond up and back on the property, so when you get into blasting the ledge, you never know what you're going to run into. I'd really rather not do that because it's also a really extreme expense that might cost me north of $15,000 just to do the blasting.
Okay. So, Tom, do you have any questions?
The only problem I have with the whole application is the three-car garage. You wouldn't even have to apply for the ZBA variance on this if you were to make it a two-car garage, or else, and make it just slightly larger if you want, as far as that goes, instead of a three. I know your preference is for the three, but there is options available for you to do it a different way.
Yeah, and I do understand that it's a little tough. I'll be honest, I have every tool known to man, so I have a lot of tools and a lot of equipment, and you know, I want to be able to have a little shop in there and be able to have a, you know, a fun car, and again, kind of my dream car situation. This particular house, it's a really old house. It says 1920s on the deeds, but I know it was actually built in the 1800s. And it's very close to the road. So the garage is actually set back further than what the house is towards the road. So I think if in looking at the renderings I did, I think that the garage really blends in well with the house, and it'll actually be further from the road than the house itself. So even though I know it's technically encroaching on the town line a little bit there, I'm hoping because the overall look of the house will be in the garage will be really good for the neighborhood. I'm hoping that you guys will see fit to approve.
Well, the problem is, Chris, you really haven't, because there are variables available to you to shorten this garage and make it a larger two-car garage and still accomplish what you want to do. You really haven't shown us the hardship.
Yeah, and that's the problem. So the three-car garages, I actually wanted to do a four-car garage, to be honest with you, but the three-car garage, the two-car garage, it won't be big enough for everything that I need to put in there. So unfortunately, if you guys do deny me for that, then it is going to be the blasting. So I will have to, and I really don't want to go that route. It's going to be very expensive, and it's going to, I'll be honest with you, it's going to look awful because when I start blasting into the hillside, it's going to be exposed ledge rock, and it's just going to not look nice and clean. If you see it in the rendering I have there that's up on the screen, you can see how it's kind of nice and scaped. The hillside's going to be nice and green. But once I start blasting into that ledge rock, I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit of an eyesore, to be honest with you. But that would give me the setbacks then if I remove the ledge rock, because the property goes back very far. It's just, again, I wanted to avoid going down that road because I know it's going to be expensive.
Chair,
Hey,
this is-
Chris. Oh, I'm sorry.
excuse
How do
me,
you?
Carl, can I ask a question?
There you go.
Go ahead, Carl.
If you, Chris, if you were to do a two-car garage, because Tamiami is a private road, couldn't you come closer to Tamiami and make that shop that you're talking about from the back side, the back right side, and get a door there and accomplish the same goal?
Well, there's two things there. So right now on the survey I had done, I'm actually 29.5 feet from Taniami, and I think that I need to be 30 feet. So I'm actually, the way it sits, I'm already a half foot. And the way the driveway is it's kind of long and narrow. So if I turn the garage like you're talking, which is actually my preferred way to do it, I'd rather do it that way. It doesn't leave me enough room to pull a car in and turn and back into the garage. It's actually very narrow. So my driveway might only be like 15 feet or something like that. So again, the only way for me to do it that way would be the blasting. And honestly, if I end up doing the blasting, I may turn the garage that direction, but then I'll still need a variance from the Taniami side because my setback at that point, I'm going to say is going to be about 15 feet.
Because it's at 49 now, right? And then it's.
Can you guys look at the survey? So I actually had a survey done of the property with the house on it. If you scroll down, I believe it's down a little bit further, hopefully. And that gives you a more accurate representation. So the lines were, I went by the town lines that are on the GIS site, but when I actually had the survey done, it's quite a bit different. And I have it, I'm looking at the survey, it's a document called 2020-4-29. Yeah, there you go. And if you can actually blow it up, I believe, if you increase the size.
Speak up.
Yep.
I don't have it on the document that I have.
Page
I'm looking.
21, is that the survey you're speaking of, Chris?
Yeah, that's the survey right there. So I actually, with this survey, I'm a little bit further back than the road than I thought, or the town line that I thought. I'm actually just about 20 feet, but I'm actually closer to Taniami than I thought.
Oh, that's better. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is Mark Kane. Did you consider turning your garage clockwise 90 degrees and then pushing back up towards the hill, and then possibly you have 29 feet now it shows, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Off of Tamiami,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. If you turned it and did a 2-car and then did the whole second floor, like put a second floor on top of the garage to get that extra space. I understand that you'd only have 2-car garage instead of 3, but you could turn your whole upstairs into your storage area or what you wanted to do. And still, square footage wise, you'd be able to come in off the top because you'd be into the mountain with minimal blasting. You do 2 wing walls on each end of it, fill it in, and then you can have a ramp that goes right into the second floor. Even if you wanted to put a driveway up there and build the structure enough to carry weight for a substantial amount of, maybe a small car, but nothing major.
So I did look at that actually and consider that. And so it is an option, obviously, but it does add quite a bit of an expense because I still, with the blasting, I have to blast just as much because, again, the driveway is very narrow and you can kind of see the outline where the dotted line there is. It's towards Fish Rock Road. You don't have a lot of room. It's deceiving on this map, but that's where the hillside starts, is the dotted line on the side towards Fish Rock Road, and the dotted line behind the proposed garage going towards the detention pond. That's all ledge rock. That's solid ledge rock. So in order for me to turn it and get enough area for me to turn a car around, I really have to go into that hillside quite a bit. So there's the expense of the blasting, but then to be able to put a driveway in up on top and then be able to park a car on top of the garage, that's also going to be quite an expense because I'm not even sure. I think I would have to have some steel reinforcement and a concrete floorboard on the second level to park a car up there. It's not like I can just do wood framing. So I think I would incur quite a bit of additional expense with that, unfortunately.
Fair, this is Carl again. Can I be recognized?
Yep. I'm fine.
Okay. Have
Who
you done
else
any?
has Sharon, do you have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry, Carl. I have a question. Is there going to be any commercial work done in these garages at any time?
Oh, definitely not. I'm an IT guy, so I just, I went to mechanic school when I was in high school many years ago, and it's just it's kind of a hobby of mine. So I have a Wrangler that I'm working on, and I do a little bit of welding stuff, but absolutely no commercial work. I do IT work 50 hours a week, and that's my job.
And what about your neighbors? Have you spoken to your neighbors?
Yeah, included in this this document, there's a petition that I asked the neighbors if they would sign. I had all the homeowners in the area sign it. They're all very excited about it. They're looking forward to, I showed them the renderings and they're really excited about seeing the construction going up.
Okay, is there any way that, it can be written on this that no commercial work is going to be done?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I would feel a lot more comfortable with that because, even down the road, like say you sell the place and you have three, I don't want somebody coming in thinking they can start
Yeah.
commercial work out of there.
Oh, I'm absolutely fine
I,
with that.
I would want to have some proof to say that it was not deemed to have commercial work.
Certainly, I would have no problem with that whatsoever.
Sharon, that would require another variance in order to put commercial into that property. You can't just open a shop unless you have the proper zoning.
Yeah,
So
it's already
it would
written in the
not
regulations.
necessarily
It's
be a
kind of
concern
sensitive.
in this case.
Yeah, well, how do you know they're not going to do it like just on the side or something,
Well, that's when you have your your zoning officer step in place. You just can't open your little shop in your house or garage without permission. It's against the plan, I want to say the zoning requirements.
Mark Kane would like to speak.
Pardon?
Mark Kane would like to speak.
I can't hear you.
Don't forget about Carl had a question.
Carl was up next.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Carl and Mark would like to speak.
Go ahead. Let Carl
Okay.
come next, and I think we already spoke to Mark, right? So
It's
Carl
Carl.
should go next.
So my question, Chris, have you done any test holes to verify where the ledge is?
Yeah, I've leveled sections of the property, and I could, we're basically where the edge of the property is behind the garage going towards the detention pond. You can see that dotted line that goes on the map. That entire dotted line is all solid ledge rock all the way into the embankment. Yeah, exactly, right there. Everywhere you see that dotted line is ledge.
That's visible at grade?
Yeah, I could just take a shovel and I could show it to you right away. And it's not, sometimes you get shale, it'll just break apart. This is solid, like almost like granite. It is, you cannot break it up.
And you have no ledge where the actual footprint of the garage is going?
No. On the, I'll call it, is it the north side? So right where your cursor is right now, that side of the garage, as I dig down, I may hit some ledge about 2 feet down, but that's okay because the footing and the foundation would just go right on top of that. But there's no visible ledge rock right there where the garage is going to be. I'm hoping I don't hit any ledge there. But as soon as you go over to that dotted line, it's solid. And one of the reasons I know as well, when we had the tornado, I had a ton of oak and maple trees down on the property, so I had to use the excavator to remove them. So I tested a lot of the spots on the embankment, and it is bony.
Just one more question. How come you're not attaching it to the house, which would give you a little more
All right,
setback from?
Mark?
Speak up, please.
If you and the reason I would love to attach it to the house, the problem is if you look at it, it's a gambrel style roof on the house, and because the garage is turned the other way, it's just a funky roof line. The roof lines don't match up at all. So I've looked at it a million different ways. Yeah, you can tell from that one kind of. Yeah, that one's, yeah, right there. So that picture. So you see I have the gambrel style roof, and because the garage kind of goes outside of the existing house, if I attach it, I feel personally like it's going to look kind of, I don't want to use a bad word, but it just won't look nice. Whereas with this design, it's kind of a very basic design. I think it looks good. It adds to the aesthetic beauty of the neighborhood. But attaching it, you would have a weird roof line. It kind of looks like somebody built it that didn't know what they were doing a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
Okay, Mark, you have some questions?
All right, I just have, it's a total of 3 questions, well, 2 questions and 1 response to something, but, Chris, if you were to still turn that garage 90 degrees, and I understand if you were to back out of the garage and then leave, I'm looking at your widths and your depths of your structure, and let's say hypothetically you did need a few extra feet that when you backed out of the garage that you wouldn't back over the bank and into Fish Rock.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you were to put a retaining wall of some sort to give you that little extra space, that would probably help with,
Well,
as far as coming out of the garage, which is one thing that, I mean, as far as a consideration, that's just to try and get you to within
Sure,
your,
sure.
your
Now,
setback range.
I,
Um, go
just
ahead.
on that one, just real quick. So I live up on Lower Fish Rock, and I've actually taken a few permits over the years for retaining walls. So I got a 12-foot high mafia block wall on Lower Fish Rock for my parking area. I did exactly what you're saying. In this case, to do that, the mafia block wall would have to go on town property, so I would need to get a variance for that. And right now, if you drive by there now, you could actually see it in the pictures. It's a beautiful green grass hill, so I'd be replacing that with like just ugly concrete blocks. I hate the mafia block wall in my house, honestly. It looks terrible.
Yeah, but
see
you
how
can
nice
do
the
it.
green grass is.
But you could just do a concrete wall with a stone veneer of some sort, something dressy versus just mafia blocks.
Yeah, it gets expensive though, so it's
No, I understand. I mean, it's, everything in life is expensive.
and that would be a variance from you guys as well, even to do the wall if I dressed it all up. So that would be another variance.
Well, I don't know how much of an issue it is as far as putting a wall or whatever near there, but that, I mean, you'd have to go beyond, in front of zoning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the first question. My actual question was the same thing as Carl's. Why not push that house back to attach it to the house? But you already answered that. And then the third thing was, as far as with Sharon, for you to have somebody sign something on for a non-commercial work as an obligation, the whole world in society is based on the fact of the trust that you're going to follow and oblige to the town regulations. So for us to have him put that in there, I don't think it's even necessary, because Ray had said that this is already written into the laws in the town. So, you'd have to have everybody, no matter what, say, I'm not going to do this. It would just get to be.
Okay, that was, as you said, Paul explained that to me, so thank you, Paul, for explaining that to me.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. That's all. So, and that's it. Basically, I'm good for looking at it right now. Thank you.
Paul, this is Carl again. I saw that memo. But
Whoever
I
it
didn't-
is, I need you to speak louder.
Paul, it's Carl. Can you hear me?
That's better.
Okay. I saw the memo from the administrator, but I didn't see any recommendation from the planning commission. Shouldn't they have issued some kind of recommendation in regards to this application?
I didn't see it here.
See any?
There's a memo in the paperwork there
Seen
somewhere.
any. I'm not sure that it would be necessarily applicable in this case. I do have a question to ask. Okay, we do have something here. What is the property deed? Second place. I don't see any recommendation in there.
No, that's my point.
Okay. Let's, I have a question to ask. What would happen if you only built a 2.5-car garage? You're saying you need the third garage for whatever. Being somebody that knows about 3-car garages, they often end up with whatever in there besides the cars. But my question to you is, what would happen, Chris, if you only built a 2.5-car garage? What effect would that have on this whole process?
Well, so what would happen is I wouldn't do it. What I would do is, and
You have to speak
I'm
louder.
really hoping you guys approve, but if you don't, probably what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'll start contacting blasting companies and have them come out and give me a price on the blasting, because once I blast the ledge rock out, I'll have the setbacks that I need.
Chris, could you speak up just a little louder again?
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, so I just honestly, I'm really set on the 3-car. I really wanted the 4-car, but there's just not enough room. So I'm really set on the 3-car. So if I get denied today, I'll understand. I mean, you guys have every right to make your decision. But then tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll start calling some blasting companies and I'll have them come out and start pricing out the blasting. Because once I blast the ledge rock out, which will be very expensive, and like I said, I think it'll be a bit of an eyesore, then I'll have the setbacks from Taniami and from Fish Rock to do the 3-car. I really don't want to go down that road. I think the disturbance to the wetlands there and just the amount of money it's going to cost me, it would be really, really unfortunate. But I'm really kind of set on the 3-car garage, and it's really, it's my dream car garage. I've always wanted to have a garage like this where I could have a nice muscle car in there and all my tools, have a little wood shop there, and so it's just kind of my dream.
Question is still the same, which is if you had a 2.5-car garage rather than 3, what would that happen? What would happen with this application?
It would depend. So I would basically have to cut it down from a 40-foot wide garage to a 29.5-foot garage, we say, to meet the setbacks for the town.
That's correct.
Right.
But that would not require any change, any request for changes.
No.
Okay. So that's
I
my
have a
question.
question. Paul, this is Sharon. I was wondering if you decide that you want to blast, okay, and you're saying that it might affect the wetlands or something, you might not get approved for that.
Well, I guess we'll have to cross that bridge. There's no wetlands on the property, but there is a ton of groundwater. If you and I had in the past, I had Chris McGinnis out there many times, and we talked about it. He said what's called the pond up and back is really just a retention basin, I think he calls it. So when I talked to him and I told him, that was one of the things I was considering, he said at the time it wouldn't be a problem. I know he's not in the town anymore. But I think probably if he was okay with it, I'm assuming they'll allow for it. But if I do go for the blasting permit and I get denied for that, then I guess the property's just going to sit there abandoned, which will be a real shame. Because if I can't build the garage, then I don't really see investing more money into the property.
No, the reason why I brought that up is because you had just stated something about having wetlands there, so.
Oh, yeah. It's the groundwater. So there is that whole area. There's just a ton of groundwater there for some reason.
I see. Thank you.
Are there any more questions at this time?
Yeah, I'd like to have one question. This is Dave
Go ahead.
Pitari.
Who's speaking?
Dave Pitari.
Go ahead.
All right, sir. Just quick math. If I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but if you took, according to your one of your drawings here, your garage, if you build it the way it is now, it's a 40 by 28. If you build it the way it is now, your garage doors, I think, are facing, what is that, northeast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say your garage doors right now are facing northeast. Yeah, that's it. That photo right there. As it sits like that in your rendering, you're 15 feet away from Fish Rock Road to the edge of the garage.
19.8 according to the survey.
So it's 19.8. Okay.
And it's actually almost 30 feet from Fish Rock, but it's 19.8 from the town property line because the town owns a portion into the property.
Okay. All right. So, and then you're 49 feet from the edge of the, say, the car doors, your garage doors to Tamiami.
No, that's actually, so when I originally did the drawings, I went off the GIS map for the town, but when Stuart Summers did the survey, they showed it it's actually 29.5 feet from Taniami.
Oh, you're only 29.5 feet from Tamiami?
Yeah, it was shocking to me because you could kind of see the outline of Taniami on the survey, and it's way over from what the town has on the GIS map. I went purely off the GIS map.
Oh, okay. So yeah, 29.5 feet. Yeah. All right. So that blows. Because what I was going to say on quick math, if you were to turn your garage doors so they face south,
Hmm.
which is towards Fish Rock, you would be 12 feet from Tamiami, but that was going with your original 40 feet, 49 feet.
Yeah, and honestly, that would be my preference. I think it would look better that direction, but it's just with the setbacks and of course all the ledge I'm dealing with, it's just not possible.
Yeah, and if you start blasting into rock, you might upset a underground spring if there's a lot of groundwater there too, right?
Well, that's my concern. And then in addition, you have some wells within proximity from the neighboring property. So I really hate to disturb anything with their wells.
Yeah.
Mark Kane is going to speak again. Mark Kane has raised his hand.
Mark, go ahead.
Yes, Chris, as far as you're saying you have to blast, how far into that mountain from the existing of what you want with the garage right now, how much more going towards the detention pond are you looking to blast into to make your driveway and your topography look nice? What would your request of being to do? How far up?
It's probably going to be about 20 feet. And
20 feet?
Yeah, it's 20 feet because I have to get the foundation and I have to have at that point, I'll definitely have to have some type of French drain with the foundation because of all the water that'll be coming out of the ledge rock. So I need an additional room, like an additional 5 feet to have that separation.
Okay. Now, can you do me a favor and scroll up to that nice simulated where it's looking at the 3-car garage? Right up, right there. Okay. One more. There you go. Thank you. Because looking at that, if that's I mean, is that green that you, on this simulation that you've done, that green to the right of the garage, is that the actual topo that is to the shrubbery, the growth in the woods there?
Right. So so everything to the left, all the grass to the left is all like an actual picture. So what I did is I took a picture, then I photoshopped in the garage. So it's not perfectly to scale, but it's fairly close. But the green to the right and the hillside, that's all the ledge rock. So there's some green in the beginning, but it's all shrub and ledge there. So it's not quite as accurate when you look at the yeah, you could see there in that picture of the house, you have kind of a little bit green going up the hillside, then it's all like leaves and all that. That's all solid ledge there.
So then the photo that we're looking at before, that grass on the right of the garage is actually something you did. It's not the actual picture, correct?
Right, correct. Yeah, that's Photoshop. And you can kind of tell if you look at it, it's a little squirrely.
Right there's the actual picture, Mark.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
there you go. Yep.
Yep.
Because, thank you, Carl. Because I mean, looking at that, honestly, I don't even think you'd have to blast. To be honest with you, a hammer on an excavator probably take 2 days to get into that, even with the bedrock. Because I haven't experienced any time of ever bedrock that you can't really get through that has that much outcrop in that area with that much water, because as water comes down that hill and seeps into the rock, and then you get a cold winter and it expands, and I don't think it's going to be as horrible to where you'd have to have a blasting company personally. And that's just my opinion and an observation I'm looking at. And that's if I had to guess. So, I mean, as far as the expense, I don't think you'd be tremendously having to A, worry about that. B, as far as causing any disturbance on anybody else's wells. And that's just my personal, I did not have a chance to go out and walk the property to look at, which I have no problem, meeting with another member if that's the case. If you want us to go out and take a look, could even do it this week if anybody else is available.
I could be available for that, but the only thing is if you start breaking away, like I said before, ledge like that, you might be getting into underground springs if he has that much water in his property in the first place because he got that retention. And this is only going to be a one-story garage?
Yeah.
Can I say something? It's Carl.
Yep, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, Ray, can you scroll back down to the survey map? Thank you. So if you look at, Chris, if you were to push it up the hill, you're still gonna be uh, within this, you're not gonna be within the required setback. If you
So I'd
look
have
at,
to put the structure-
if you look at the BL line, that's your setback line, building line, correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
So if you push it up the hill, you're gonna be encroaching, you won't be encroaching on the front setback, but the sideline.
That's a good point, Carl.
Yeah, but if he moves the structure backwards towards
Exactly.
the house.
Right.
Yeah, you might be able to make it if you attach it to the house or.
Right. So and that's exactly what would happen. So I would push back into the ledge rock. I would attach it to the house, get that extra 5 feet, and that would just, I'm sure it would just barely give you the setback. So I only have to move the garage essentially.
He doesn't agree.
And one thing I just wanted to comment about the as far as using an excavator with a hammer. So just for the audience, so I'm very experienced with excavation. So I have easily over 3,000 hours on an excavator, and I've run 50,000-pound machines with an excavator. When I did my house on Lower Fish Rock, I had to get a 45,000-pound machine with a hammer. When I did that foundation, it was all shale, so it comes apart pretty easy. But I've already had an excavator on this ledge rock, and it will not break apart. Could I do it with a hammer? I'd probably need a plus 60,000-pound machine with a hammer, which is going to run me about 2,500 a day. And I'm not sure. And if that doesn't work, then I'm back to the blasting. That's why if it was just shale rock, I would have already dug it out, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
Do we have any more questions?
Yes, well, I have more of a comment than a question. I think Chris has done his homework.
Thank you. I really put a lot of time into thinking this out and
I
talking
think
to all the
Mrs.
neighbors.
Simon has definitely done his homework.
Okay.
This is Dave Batari again. Hey, Chris, what's the length of your existing house right now?
The house, so the footprint of the house is 39 by 28, so almost the same size as the garage.
Well, that's not big.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Are there any objections to this application?
No.
Well, you can't count, Sharon.
Well, all right, so, all right, that's right. Do you have enough without me for a
Right.
four?
I have one other question. Do I have anybody that is in favor of this application? That is
Excuse me,
not
Paul, I
part of
believe
the
Ray said
board.
you
Go ahead.
Carl, go ahead. I believe you asked for a roll call vote, correct?
You should do a roll call.
I will do that after. My first step is to make sure that there's nobody in the audience that has an objection or is in favor of this application. Remember, guys? You're a step ahead of me. Okay? If there are none, I will call this section of the meeting to close, and we, as committee members, will now discuss it before we go a step further. All right? Is everybody ready?
I'm ready. Dave Batari's ready.
Okay, let's start. I'm going to ask us to do this in roll call order.
Up to you.
Okay. I myself am sitting on the sidelines here. I think that personally, a two-car garage would do the job that he needs. 2.5-car garage does the job. And he does show his preference for the 3-car garage. And as far as I see, understanding the shale situation that to me does show some burden. But let's go from there. Those are my thoughts on the particular subject as it now stands. Tom?
I think I voiced my opinion earlier. I concur that the three-car garage, even though it's his preference, really doesn't show the hardship, and he has other options, and I think they should be explored.
Okay. Carl?
Um, I'm in the same boat. I believe he has other options, and we're not even certain there's ledge there based on the lack of test hole information.
All right. Sharon?
I think he's done his homework, but as Carl said, we need some testimony as to the rock there to, to prove to us that it would be a hardship to spend that kind of money and to have a problem with that.
Okay. Yeah. And now I've got Matt.
What are you looking for?
Mark, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, I think as far as the amount of options that he does have available, even to fit that size structure, if he was to push it up against the house, he would probably still have maybe 1 foot into the 30-foot setback off of Fish Rock, which I understand he doesn't want to connect it to the house, but I do believe if he did push it back and then up towards the detention pond, he would fall except for maybe 1 foot. And then I wouldn't have a problem with that. But where it's being proposed, I just think there's too many options, and I just wouldn't be in favor of granting this forward.
All right. Is everybody completed on their comments?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, who's that? That hasn't, what?
David Pitari.
Okay. Go ahead. Steve.
All right. Me, with my my understanding, the 3-car garage should be approved. My reasonings are pushing it back into whatever the ledge is or the hillside. There's really no reason to do that. And if we do that, or make him do that, not only will be a monetary expense, you might be opening up a whole can of worms, which is, and I'll say it again, underground springs, which the South Ray is has numerous amounts of underground springs.
Okay.
Once you start cracking into rock like that, you might open up even more problems. And there's no reason to have a retaining wall back there. So there's no reason to disturb the ground. Actually, and you're only going to get a few feet. So visually, it's not really going to change. When you drive by on Fish Rock Road, if he's pushed back 5, 6, 10 feet, it's not going to be any difference than where he wants to put it right now. So a 3-car garage, if that's what he needs for what he needs to do, I don't see a problem with it. Besides all that, there's no sense in going through all this expense and tearing into the ground or rearranging the whole entire garage. It's not a dwelling. It's just a garage. So it could be removed or replaced. Or one thing we do have to have is a stipulation is if he's going to be, is it going to be 2 stories? Is the garage going to be 2 stories or 1 story? And that's one thing that we need to watch out for. Otherwise, than that, then environmentally disturbing his land and causing more problems. I don't see a reason why we should move it back, and I think it should go the way he has it planned. So I move for approval.
Okay. I think at this step, our next step, and I have to do this correctly, and I got to remember, but I have to basically call for a vote on whether we approve or disapprove this application. I could go through and read the whole application, but I don't think that's necessary. what I'd like to do to start with is a poll vote and then an official vote. So what I'm going to ask is that,
Right.
Rick, I'm going to ask Rick to ask each person to give us a poll vote whether to approve or disapprove this application. And then we will go through the formal process of approving or disapproving the application.
So I'll start with Mr. Petrini in the room here.
I couldn't hear you with that noise.
Okay. If you could say whether you would approve a poll vote, yes or no.
I disapprove.
Okay. Carl?
You're asking my vote, Ray?
We're asking for a poll vote.
You're asking, I'm not following on.
Asking a poll vote before we do the formal vote,
Okay.
so we
And-
can do
and-
the resolution accordingly.
And that's a motion, and you're asking me if I'm voting yes or no for that motion.
I am asking you yes or no for your approval of the application. Yes.
Okay, no.
Dave?
Okay, as far as the poll vote, one question I had, was visitation of the site. Is that still an option or no?
I welcome you guys to come out.
I just need a poll vote at this time. It's either yes or no.
Okay, yes, I
Okay.
approve it.
Mark?
At this point in time, I am not in favor of it.
Is Sharon gonna vote?
Sharon?
Do I get a vote?
Yes.
I'd like to know, evidence of, I'm gonna vote no, like Paul. I'd like to see evidence.
Okay.
Got to issue.
Need a vote on that. All right. And so therefore, we need to take a resolution, we need to take a formal vote now to disapprove or approve this application. All right, so we have to go through the process, but this time, the application is either to be approved or disapproved. And that's the only answer, yes or no.
Sir,
Mr.
can I ask one question? This is
One
Dave
question?
Patari.
Pardon?
I need to ask a question.
Okay,
This is
the
Dave
question is
Patari.
whether or not you approve the application for the,
It seems like some of the committee members, they want to have proof. Is it possible? I know there were some people that were saying they may want to visit the site. I'm happy to meet you guys out there before you do an official denial on this and show you the ledge and all the water on the property, just so you could really get a feel for it, what I'm up against.
This is Dave Patari. That's exactly what I was trying to ask. If we, before we vote, can we see the site or, postpone this
if
approval, disapproval
we
until next
could
meeting?
postpone it. What we would need to do on that case is to get a majority of the members here to agree to postpone it and to get Chris to also agree for the postponement for 28 days. Is it 28 days or 30? Whenever we meet next, let's put it that way.
Sure, I agree to it.
Okay? How many here, again, are willing to postpone it for the next meeting?
I'll postpone it.
Okay? I got one.
Mr. Petrini?
I was out of the property, I don't have a problem with disapproval.
Okay?
Dave Patari postpones it, approves for a
Okay.
postponement.
Carl?
Yes.
Mark?
I'm in favor.
And I'm in favor. So this application, Chris, are you in agreement to postpone it?
Yes.
Okay. So this application is now postponed till the next meeting, whenever that is.
Mark has his hand raised.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Mark.
Would it be advisable to possibly, since we have everybody here now, to put a date in, a day and time to when we can meet out there, or is it too soon?
I don't know whether that would, I think we need to let that be up to Amy to make sure that this is done in a formal process. We would have to write a note to each member. Because we're not sure what everybody's calendar would be,
Okay.
okay? And it's not necessary, I don't think, that everybody be there at the same time.
If there's a stipulation that if 2 or more members gather on the site, it actually becomes a meeting. So
Well,
there has to be minutes. There has to be a lot of stuff to do
well,
it.
that is correct, if there are 2 or more members on the site at the same time. Okay?
I can meet you guys individually.
All right,
if
so
that's-
why don't we pick 2 people to go down there and come back with a conclusion for us?
I will ask Amy that question after the meeting, as I think that's a good idea, and come back and report. But remember that that's also the duties of the planning zone to come back and make those recommendations.
Hey,
Dave has his hand raised.
Okay?
can I make a comment,
Steve,
please?
go ahead.
Go ahead, Carl. He asked first, so.
Okay, so what I was gonna get at, if we're gonna make a site visit, can you put some stakes out for the building, Chris? And
Yeah.
is there, you said you work with equipment, et cetera. Do you have an opportunity to do test holes out there and
I think probably what I would do is, if we definitely set on the day you guys will come out, I'll probably rent a machine from in town, because I don't own an excavator at this point. I sold it. So I'll probably rent a machine. It'll be $500 out of my pocket, but I'll be able to sit there and bang on this ledge rock, and you guys will see what I'm saying. It will not break.
well, that's not something you have to do. I just thought you.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll uncover the ledge rock with a shovel, and because after I dug it, I put a little bit of dirt on the hillside, so it wouldn't just be, I think ledge rock exposed is ugly, but I'll uncover it the best I can, and then I could whack on it with a sledgehammer or something. And you guys take a look at it. You'll see the groundwater. There's groundwater all over that backside of the hill that runs into a drain now. So that'll be clearly evident. And then I'll stake it out for you. And then I think once you're really out there and you see when it's staked out, how it's much smaller when you're there in person than what it looks like on the map, I think.
Mark has his hand raised.
All right, Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, but I think Dave was before me, right after Carl. Wasn't Dave up next?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that I'm available to go look, and then
All right,
brought up another question. Is there a wetlands map
yeah.
that we can get a hold of?
Now remember, guys, that generally speaking, you're supposed to go check the property out before the meeting. We're postponing this one so that we have the opportunity, for people to have the opportunity to do so. I'll have Amy send out a memo, and we'll go from there. But let's in the future remember that when we're discussing these issues, that we should go out and check the properties ahead of time, individually, not necessarily with the applicant's permission. Okay? So anyway, let's postpone, this is now postponed till next meeting, and we'll go on to the next issue, which is there any new business? There's no new business.
I had one more question.
Oh, Mark, go ahead.
Chris, by chance, do you have a map with the topography as far as showing on there? Because there's no elevation as
Yeah,
far
right
as.
there. He just went past it. If you scroll back up.
No, it doesn't have any of the.
It doesn't have the numbers on it, yeah.
Doesn't have
the
any
numbers?
elevations on it.
Okay.
No elevations. There's no topo on it.
I don't know, because the one that he's showing on the screen here, and then the one that's up higher is the GIS map.
Okay.
Maybe it doesn't have any elevation numbers. I could kind of explain it to you though, and you'll see it when you come out. But so essentially, where the green line is, so you see the red line that's going along Fish Rock, and then there's a green line that goes up around the back side of the house. That entire green line is all the ledge. It's pure ledge in there. And right there, right where that green line is where the hillside starts. And so from that green line up to the back of the property, I would say the elevation is probably 60 feet, something like that. It's a really big hill.
Right, but you're only looking to move 18 feet, or no, with 19, you're only looking to move to get your width in. So you're
Oh,
only
I see
looking
what you're
at
saying.
12
So
feet plus
the
another
ele-
5.
Yeah, so if let's say I went 20 feet back into the hillside, that would probably be an elevation of, oh man, I'll call it 15 feet, 12, 15 feet.
Is that steep?
It's steep. It's really, wait till you come out there. It's steep.
Okay, all right. No, because it just doesn't. By looking at the pictures that you have of before and after, it just doesn't look that steep to go into 12 feet to where you'd have a 15-foot wall.
Yeah, it starts off like not
Oh,
that
there
steep.
you go. Okay, yeah, but that's the GIS one you got,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, I think Amy got this one. This is right off the GIS website.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how accurate that is?
Yeah, and that's what I was basing all my original setbacks on, and I did the survey, so I was pretty shocked, to be honest with you.
I mean, you got a good. If I'm the guess, by looking at, you're going from 150 to 155. That's 5 feet in about probably 14.
See how packed
15?
those elevation lines are. His house is at 145 to 155 is only about 40 or 50 feet. It's a good grade right there.
Yeah. Well, when I go out and look at it, yeah, absolutely. No, that was just a question. That's all I had.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Remember that those questions have to be asked during the question and answer session in the future. The next thing on the agenda is, do we have any correspondence? None. Do we have any bills? We have no bills. Is there any other business that needs to be taken care of?
Approval of the minutes.
Right? Oh, we didn't approve the minutes, that's right. Has everybody read the minutes?
Yes.
Does anybody object to the minutes?
No.
Then I
No.
recommend that the minutes be passed as is.
Make a second.
The second,
Yes.
the minutes are passed accordingly. All right? I guess we're ready to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
You make a motion to adjourn, do I have somebody to second it?
Second.
I'll second.
Good. Meeting is adjourned. I want to thank everybody for this extra effort. Hopefully, the next meeting will be in person, but on the other hand, I sort of like it this way. So, you guys, thank you very much. And
Night.
thank Chris for his efforts here today. Bye.
Oh,
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.